In Japan, food is never rushed. Even the simplest meal, a bowl of rice, miso soup, and a few pickles, begins with silence. Before the first bite, elders press their hands together and whisper, "Itadakimasu." It's more than gratitude. It's a signal to the body, the brain, and time itself to slow down, to notice each taste, each breath, each moment. In the small island villages of Okinawa and Kyushu, people over 90 still prepare their own meals. They cut vegetables carefully, brew green tea with steady hands, and chew each bite as if telling their brain, "Stay awake, stay alive." There's no rush to finish, because eating, for them, is thinking. Modern science is finally catching up to what these elders have known all along. Eating slowly helps regulate blood sugar, improve digestion, and even protect the brain from decline. It's not just tradition, it's biology. When we rush meals, the brain stays in fight-or-flight mode. Digestion suffers, and so does memory. But when we eat slowly, the parasympathetic system, the rest and restore mode, takes over. In this calm state, the brain stores memories better. The mind focuses. The body absorbs nutrients more efficiently, like iron, zinc, and omega-3s, all crucial for cognitive health after 60. That's why Japanese elders rarely multitask at the table. No screens, no rush, no distractions. Just the rhythm of chopsticks and the quiet between bites. In one 2019 study from the National Institute for Longevity Sciences, participants who chewed food slowly scored higher on memory and attention tests. The act of chewing activates the hippocampus, the part of the brain that processes learning. Each slow bite becomes a small workout for the mind. When you eat slowly, you give your mind a message. I am safe. I can focus. I can remember. It's the opposite of modern life. Fast food, fast thoughts, fast aging. But for the elders of Japan, slowing down is not a luxury. It's medicine. Not all of them live without pain or forgetfulness. But many keep their minds clear enough to cook, walk to the market, and share stories they learned half a century ago. They live proof that mental sharpness isn't found in supplements. It's hidden in the silence between each bite. In Japan, calm is not something you search for. It's something you practice. Each morning, elders begin their day with quiet rituals that require no technology, no rush, and no noise. They move slowly, but with purpose, folding blankets, watering plants, or simply watching the light change through paper windows. There's no hurry, yet nothing feels wasted. Every gesture is deliberate, as if the act itself keeps the mind awake. Psychologists in Kyoto call this rhythm ma, the space between actions where awareness lives. Western culture often treats stillness as idleness, but in Japan, stillness is strength, a way of training attention without forcing it. Even silence has shape and meaning. You can see it when an elderly man sweeps his porch in the early morning. He doesn't rush to finish. He sweeps as if aligning his breath with the wind. Each motion becomes a small meditation. Science shows that repetitive, mindful actions like these lower cortisol levels and improve cognitive resilience. The brain thrives on rhythm, not chaos. That's why calm is not emptiness, it's alignment. For Japanese elders, peace is not something found in isolation, but in attention. When they sew, they focus on the needle. When they walk, they feel the ground beneath their feet. These moments train the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and memory. It's the same logic behind Zen gardening, the discipline of simplicity, raking sand into waves, arranging stones, trimming bonsai trees. All of it demands a quiet mind and steady breath. It's not just art, it's cognitive therapy disguised as tradition. This slow rhythm creates a buffer against mental fatigue, because the brain, much like the body, burns energy through tension. When you move slower, you conserve energy, and with it, clarity. In these quiet routines, time stops being an enemy. Elders are not trying to escape aging. They are learning to move with it. Their patience becomes their sharpness. You can feel this in the way they pause before beginning anything, cooking, writing, or speaking. Each pause protects the mind from noise. It's the opposite of modern living, where speed often replaces substance. And perhaps that's why so many Japanese elders remain mentally clear well into their 80s and 90s. They never stopped practicing slowness. Their routine isn't therapy, it's their way of existing. When the world speeds up, they slow down. And in that stillness, their minds stay alive, not because of what they know, but because of how they notice. When we move slower, the brain listens better. Every pause, every measured action allows neurons to fire in harmony, like a rhythm the body remembers from childhood. This, the Japanese say, is how you live without leaking energy. Modern neuroscience now proves what Zen monks have practiced for centuries. The slower your mind moves, the stronger your neural connections become. It's not about thinking less, it's about thinking deeply. In a study from Tohoku University, researchers observed elderly participants who lived with slower routines, waking early, eating calmly, taking daily walks. Their MRI scans showed higher blood flow in the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and emotional balance. It seems that tranquility isn't just a feeling, it's a physiological advantage. Stress, on the other hand, ages the brain faster than time itself. Cortisol, the stress hormone, literally shrinks the hippocampus over years of exposure. That's why chronic rush, even without physical exertion, silently erodes focus, creativity, and recall. Japanese longevity culture avoids this by design. They have built slowness into daily life, from removing shoes before entering a home to waiting for the kettle to whistle before tea. These pauses aren't inefficiency, they are intentional resets for the nervous system. Neuroscientists call this neuroplastic recovery, giving the brain time to reset between actions. When elders take deliberate pauses, their prefrontal cortex remains flexible, preserving problem-solving and emotional regulation well into old age. It's how they stay calm when others panic, patient when others rush. There's a saying in Kyoto, "Fast hands make tired hearts." It means that speed may finish the task, but it drains the soul. In science, this is called cognitive fatigue, the brain's energy spent on noise instead of meaning. When a person slows down intentionally, brainwaves shift from beta, alert, stressed, to alpha, calm, creative. Alpha waves are what allow memory to integrate and ideas to emerge. In this state, even aging minds can learn new things, as long as the pace is right. For Japanese elders, this rhythm is not an exercise. It's a philosophy of survival. They believe the mind, like a garden, grows better when tended with patience, and each small act, tying an apron, sweeping a step, writing a letter, becomes training for presence. This may explain why dementia rates in rural Japan are lower than in industrial cities, not because of luck or genetics, but because of the daily practice of awareness. Every gentle routine becomes a form of mental exercise. So when Western science speaks of mindfulness, Japan quietly nods. They've lived it for generations. Their minds stay clear not from complexity, but from rhythm. Because clarity, like health, is something you do slowly. In the Japanese way, the mind is not a machine to be optimized. It's a melody to be played softly. And the slower it plays, the longer it lasts. In Japan, aging is not an enemy. It's a teacher. The wrinkles, the slower steps, even the moments of forgetfulness are seen as signs of a life fully lived. To grow old is to become refined, like wood polished by years of gentle touch. While much of the world races to stay young, Japanese elders slow down to stay wise. They understand that the body changes, but the awareness within it can deepen endlessly. This idea flows from an ancient belief. The body fades, but the mind can bloom. One of the most cherished Japanese words for this stage of life is komorebi. the light that filters through leaves. It describes the beauty that appears only when time slows down enough to see it. Many elders in Japan live their days as if chasing this light, soft, quiet, but full of meaning. In the village of Nagomi, 82-year-old Haruko still wakes at dawn to sweep the temple steps. She says it helps her remember what day it is and what it means to be alive. Her memory may not hold every detail, but her routine holds her mind. Psychologists describe this as procedural memory, the type that stays even when names or dates fade. It's the reason Japanese elders remain functional and dignified even in very old age. Their rituals give the mind an anchor when time begins to blur. But there's something deeper than memory. It's perspective. Many elders in Japan see loss not as tragedy, but as transformation. When friends pass away, they honor them not with mourning, but with continued gratitude. This attitude shapes how their minds age. Acceptance reduces mental stress, preserving cognitive function and emotional balance. In a culture that bows to impermanence, the brain learns to adapt instead of resist. There's a phrase in Japanese calligraphy, shibumi, understated elegance. It describes a kind of beauty that comes only with time and restraint. That same quality appears in their way of thinking, clarity without noise, depth without show. Neuroscience now suggests that this inner calm has measurable benefits. Lower anxiety levels lead to better communication between brain hemispheres. It allows logic and emotion to coexist, a balance the Japanese have long practiced through meditation and mindful living. Perhaps that's why many centenarians in Japan still read poetry or paint with a steady hand. Their focus is gentle, not forced, like a slow current under still water. They do not chase memory, they invite it. Aging gracefully, in the Japanese sense, is not about preservation, it's about presence. It's about finding peace with the imperfection of recall, the softness of movement, the poetry in routine. It's a quiet art that keeps the mind awake without demanding control. In Japan, wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. And those who listen closely discover that the clearest mind is not the one that remembers everything, but the one that accepts everything. In Japan, food is not only fuel, it's a form of focus. The same calm that guides movement and thought also guides what enters the body. Elders often say, a peaceful stomach creates a peaceful mind. Their meals are light but intentional. They don't eat to fill, they eat to stay aware. It's less about restriction, more about harmony. The concept is simple. Clarity in the mind begins with clarity in the body. A balanced gut supports the nervous system, improves sleep, and reduces inflammation that can fog memory. That's why traditional Japanese diets emphasize moderation, variety, and timing. Even the act of eating slowly helps the brain register satiety, a signal modern fast eating often overrides. For Japanese elders, food isn't rushed or multitasked. It's respected, because it keeps both the body and mind in rhythm. The science behind this is profound. Stable blood sugar, better nutrient absorption, and reduced oxidative stress, all vital for long-term brain health. But the truth is, they don't think in terms of diets. They think in terms of connection, with nature, with seasons, with self. When you eat calmly, the mind follows. And when the mind is calm, life feels fuller, even in simplicity. For those who wish to learn how these centuries-old Japanese foods support clarity and longevity, there's a deeper journey waiting. A path through teas, soups, and natural habits that nurture both brain and body. One that begins in our guide, the Japanese anti-inflammatory diet after 60. In Japan, wisdom doesn't arrive suddenly. It grows, one quiet moment at a time. Each pause, each slow breath becomes a doorway back to clarity. The elders who still bow before their meals or walk to the market aren't clinging to old ways. They're keeping their minds awake through presence. The world may move faster now, but clarity has always belonged to those who slow down. When you eat slowly, think softly, and breathe with rhythm, your body begins to trust you again. And that trust, that calm, is what keeps memory alive. For Japanese elders, this is not philosophy. It's daily life. They don't fight aging, they walk beside it, and somehow that gentle surrender becomes their greatest strength. So as you finish this video, maybe take a moment before your next meal. Don't count the seconds. Don't rush the taste. Let your body and your thoughts arrive in the same place at the same time. Because in Japan, eating slowly isn't just a habit, it's a quiet act of remembering who you are. And when you remember slowly, you think clearly.